Quick week here, so just kind of recap the game the other night. It was it's all like we always say. It's always good to go on the road and get a win, and to be down 21-0 and just see our guys not flinch in that ball game was awesome. Just speaks of them and the type of men they are in that locker room. And I knew that score right before the half was big, and we made some mistakes in the first half that we shot ourselves in the own foot, so to speak. But I knew we could overcome those in the second half, and we just stuck together. And in the second half, when you look those guys in the eye, or at halftime, when you look those guys in the eye, and you told them exactly what we're going to go out and do, they never flinched. And then come out of the half, Zakai punched the ball out, Chad recovered it, and then Raji broke the run to get the momentum going. That's the whole thing got started, and we pulled them all together at the fourth quarter, and just said, hey, it's about us. It's not about them. And that's been the message for the last 5 weeks. And that'll continue to be the message this week against Navy. A very good football team. And obviously me and Brian Newberry, good friends, and several people on that staff know really well and respect the heck out of them. I wish the conference do a little better job scheduling and not give them a bye week before us. But it is what it is. We can't focus on that. We got to control with control. And right now that's getting ready for Navy. And as I told our players, it's a race against time. In Dowdy Ficklin, and let's send these seniors out the right way. And those seniors have been through so much. Some of them been here since 2020, 2019, and just really emotional for those guys going to play their last game in Dowdy Ficklin and with us momentum. And I'm fired up to be back in there with our fans in Pirate Nation, and can't wait for Friday.
Questions? Coach, obviously pretty big news. I guess it'll become official Wednesday. Chance to the head coach going forward. Can you address that?
Yeah, there's a process to this thing, and we got to let the process play out. And you know me, like my focus is going to be all about those players, and it always will be. And that's now, that's the last 5 weeks, and that's always moving forward, whenever that is. Okay, and our focus, it has to be on Navy, and it has to be 1-0 this week. We talk about winning the day, and right now it's about winning the day and making sure in that race against time that we're preparing for Navy. Would be a good time to bring up good Team Boneyard, though, for the future and take care of those guys, and Team Boneyard will help us take care of what we can in the future, because winning 7 games, that's great. Go win 8 games, that's even better. All right, and hopefully finishing third place in this conference, that's a big step for this program. But I tell you what, I think that the conference championship game is our goal. Go play in that thing. And to do that, we need everybody. We talk about that all the time. You need the trainers, equipment, video, everybody in the building. And with that said, I can't say thank you enough to Dr. Rogers and John Gilbert, what they've been doing for our program, but also our fans and the support they give us, and that Team Boneyard and helping us retain players and bring new talent in. It will be huge moving forward.
We talked about how hard it was before. Now you got the news that you can't talk about yet, but still, do you think the staff's a little more relaxed and the players kind of like, hey, this is our baby now, let's roll with it?
I think that their main focus will just be Navy. Is needs to be the focus, and that we can't let anything else distract that, and we can't let anything else get in that way, because if we do, Navy has the advantage. They already got an advantage because they had a bye week and extra time to prepare, but we got to make sure we're full steam ahead preparing for those guys. They got a really good quarterback. I don't know which one we're going to see quite yet. It's another week of that. And it's a little bit different offense, but we did have Army earlier in the year, so some recall for that. And then defensively, there is some carryover of what they do to what we do, so that is some familiarity. South Florida played them earlier in the year, so similar style of offense, so they get kind of a look at what they did against South Florida. So all those things, you get back Sunday, you don't get much time to prepare. You got to get right on it, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about the other stuff in the future.
Coach, aside from the news this week, looking back at the weekend, what did it mean to you to see so many players publicly voice their support for you moving forward on social media?
The funny thing is, I don't even have time to get on social media. I told somebody you're playing defensive coordinator hat, your head coach hat, you got some other hats you're trying to wear and take care of business in those areas. And I got to my phone the other night, I had about 100 and so text messages. I try to respond to everybody, just to say thank you and let them know that I appreciate their thoughts and their messages, whether that's on social media or my text. But I really don't have time to scroll. Somebody told me that something was going on there. I think my mom or something. She must have time to scroll, but not me. So, and it just says about that locker room and who they are, the type of people they are, and how close they are for each other. And just love every one of those kids in there. And I think that's where it starts, and that's where any program starts and needs to be, is the care for each other. We talk about our mission the last 5 weeks has been tee off on our opponent together with effort and energy. And if we'll do those three things, we'll have a great opportunity to win on Friday this week.
Coach, you got to start this thing with the nothing to lose mentality, and obviously you kind of coaching or were coaching for the job. So how have you kind of kept that mentality while maybe some of the things have changed over time?
You got to play that way. That's the style of play we're having with. That's the style of defense I want to call. That's the style of offense we have. We're taking shots down the field. We're going for it on fourth down. We're bringing all types of pressures and doing different things there in the corner fire, Sam fire, field safety. Whoever can pressure. But that's just got to be our mentality in everything we do. If we talk about recruiting, we got to have that same mentality. If we talk about NIL, we got to have that same mentality. If we talk about building our staff, we have whatever it is. But that's the mentality we got to have this week against Navy, and right now that's all that matters. But we got to go be aggressive against those guys too to get a win Friday.
How has Coach Cronick, kind of changed their offensive philosophy coming in?
Yeah, Coach Cronick's a heck of a ball coach. Known him for a long time, and a heck of a person. He's an awesome man, and respect the job. He's done it at Lenore Ryan, Mercer, even before that at Furman, and even before that back in Georgia there. And Dad was a long-time high school coach at East Coweta High School, wing T background. You're still going to see some under center option phases of the game. You'll see a little bit more jet and belly and counters, quarterback run game, and then he likes to throw the football down the field. He's going to take shots down the field and find different ways to do that through play action and getting vertical balls down the field. And early in the season, they were putting up a lot of points, and that kind of fell off the last couple of weeks. But I expect them, with a bye week, and especially the Army and Navy game coming up, I expect them to be back to full force, the offense we saw earlier in the season.
Dugan's question about just seeing the players publicly support you. It's been a lot of the older guys who you've talked about a lot, and they've come out and really publicly backed you. What does it mean as you head into the senior day now to have that day for them in this final home game?
Yeah, I think part of the mentality for those guys is we all got each other's back. Offense got defense back. Defense has offense back. Special teams, whatever it may be, and they know that I have their back. And that's who you get emotional with is those players, in that locker room. And just know they care for you and that you care for them and that we're in this thing together and that we all pull in the same direction and we all trying to make Pirate Nation proud. And we can't wait to get in Dowdy-Ficklin on Friday. So that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Coach, not to switch gears.
Yeah, I appreciate you switching gears.
Zakai, coming back in the second half, you could just tell the difference he made with that defense. So, how does that just prove how important it is to you guys?
Our seniors are so special, and the way Zakai Barker and Caden Hauser are leading, both those guys are special people on both sides of the ball as younger guys. And Zakai was definitely a spark plug in the second half there. I told somebody the story the other day. My first game calling plays defensively, defense coordinator. We let the other team, it was actually Mercer, we let them get up 21-0. And we had two kids that had to sit out the first half, and they come back in the second half, and we shut them out in the second half, a little bit like the other night. And they said, hey, what was your halftime adjustments? I said, well, those two kids were fresh, and everybody else was tired, and they could go. But Zakai, as soon as he got in there, third play he was in there, he forced a fumble. And, he just does a great job running the show and just super proud of the person he is. I remember Cliff Godwin a couple weeks ago, and Coach Godwin's been awesome, and just thank him for his mentorship and his leadership, what he's meant to me and this university as well. But he said success leaves clues. And he was talking about a couple young men he had, but Zakai Barker's no different. Caden's no different. Those guys' success leaves clues. Those guys are always in the building. Those guys are always working, and there's no. It pays on the field. You should see it on the field.
Anything else for Coach? Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations.